Y'all may have noticed that over $1 billion have poured into the market cap of Coinbase is publicly traded stock. And I'm going to tell you why that's not necessarily good news that you might think, especially if you're a user of Coinbase. Also, we're going to talk about some unfortunate news for Celsius users. These guys are just like getting one hit after another. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying these updates, as unfortunate as they are, I think it's really important to pay attention to how this space is developing, because we're seeing two worlds collide, the centralized and the decentralized, and paying attention to these developments will make you a better investor on how you're making your investment decisions. So anyway, hit like if you appreciate that, hit subscribe, because we're putting out videos every single day. And if you want to know even more what we're doing with our cryptocurrencies, like portfolio updates, market updates, trade alerts, and etc., Toby and we've had the CT Club, so there's a link for that down below in the video description. So let's talk about Coinbase. So recently the New York regulator slapped Coinbase with a fine for like something to the tune of $100 million, or at least they've settled for $100 million, because Coinbase is being accused of not having strong enough background checks for people who are creating accounts there. And they've settled by giving the regulators $50 million and also using another $50 million to bolster their compliance techniques, tools. What is that? And so that's why $1 billion is now been poured into the stock market cap of Coin, is because now those traditional investors feel like there's more confidence in Coinbase because they're so compliant. They're so regulatory compliant. On the other side of this, the people who are actually using Coinbase are going to experience far more barriers of entry to either create an account there or to continue to have an account there. You're going to have to fork up a lot more of your personal information that either maybe they're willing to or even able to provide. And don't forget that this information is extremely sensitive and private, and any collection of this type of data of your investment activities, your personal identifying information, tying that to you and your investments, being stored by some third party, whoever they've chosen to store this information, is number one, a threat to your privacy, number two, a threat to your security. And also, let's not forget that what's happened with Celsius and also FTX, these users who are on exchanges, I'm not saying that Coinbase is going bankrupt, but there is always that possibility. Nothing is impervious to the fallacy of centralization, especially centralized exchanges. So if Coinbase does declare bankruptcy, all of this information that they're now collecting, because when you use centralized platforms, you are the unsecured creditor, means that unsecured creditor at the time of the court proceedings, your information becomes public record because of the court proceedings. And that's what's happening with Celsius users and FTX users. Even though these poor people, they lost all their money that they were entrusting to someone else. Now also they're basically being completely exposed to the amount of money they were investing, their names, and the type of account that they were in, and the type of transactions they were sending. All of that information that makes you feel disgusted to think that it's going to be public knowledge because a judge has deemed it to be so. So that's what's happening with Coinbase. So just be warned if you're a Coinbase user. Now we're going to talk about Celsius. Recently, a judge, believe it or not, has granted $4.2 billion of user funds to be the property of Celsius. So they're literally making it legal for them to take their users' funds. Is it because of the terms of service that these users agreed to at the time of depositing their coins onto Celsius? They weren't actually depositing coins onto Celsius, they were lending Celsius their coins. And maybe because of the terms of service and this legal jargon that no one ever reads the terms of service, let's be real. Maybe 0.005% of people ever read this, and that's what they were actually agreeing to. What kind of precedent does this set for Voyager, for FTX users, for anyone who has been wronged by a custodial platform and they're losing their coins? Is this really a precedent that you want to see, is that a judge is actually going to say, yeah, actually your coins, although you were told that they were still yours, you were advertised a certain way, you were misled to act in a certain way, it's actually legally their funds. So self-custody as best you can. If you want to know how and why and all those good things, check out the links to the videos down below in the video description. I do tutorials for Ledger and Trezor. I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully tomorrow I have better news, but until then, hit like and subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow.